And now for a session presented by Marriott Bonvoy, please welcome Vice President of Global B2B Events and Programs for Marriott International, Glenn Stress, and Founder and Chief Executive Officer of Storycraft Labs, Naomi Clare Crellin, in discussion with Skift Meetings Executive Editor, Andrea Doyle.
Thank you. Well, get ready for some fun. So Marriott has released a new study in partnership with PCMA and SEMA on experience design to try to understand the needs of meeting attendees. Glenn, can you tell us about the 6 guiding principles that were uncovered?
Sure, thanks so much, Andrea, and hello everyone. So I'm so excited to be here to talk about this research. It's been really labor of love. We started our journey with PCMA probably about 2016. We've done 3 research studies with them so far, and this is the one I've really been closest to. We hired Naomi and her company Storycraft Labs as well to help us compile the research. So really it's all about, we launched probably just a few months ago with our study called The Guiding Principles in Experience Design. I can't speak, sorry about that. And it's really all about cutting through the clutter and really finding what's new and changing within the meetings and events industry. So we did come up with 6 trends. We're calling them truths because in reality, these are proven policies that we have found through a lot of research. So we started out by having over 60 in-person, face-to-face interviews that really wound up resulting in 2,000 data points. And then from that, we took all that research, and then we went through and created these roundtables around the world where we were able to really go ahead and put this through a different lens and making sure we also were thinking about it globally as well. So we're really only going, and these trends are real, or truths are really all about guiding principles and our North Stars, really kind of directionally leading us to a certain place. Sorry. I will not use that phrase again, okay? So anyway, so in reality, we're going to talk about just a few of them in terms of the 6 truths that we have. But the full list is exploring identities, architecting choice, designing for belonging, value of values, emotional data, power of play. And we're excited about power of play because we're literally going to illustrate it right now with what's on your table as well as what we have in our hands.
So let's shift into the focus on play.
And I brought some for you as well.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes. Oh, Skift yellow slime. So everyone, you have slime on your tables. Why the slime, Naomi? Why the power of play? Why is it important?
So first of all, if we talk about the power of play and why play. And please, go ahead, break open the slime, take a sniff, get your fingers in there, have a play. It's so much fun. When we think about the act of playing, it's really been connected to the work of innovation and thinking differently for a long time. And that's because when we're playing, we are thinking about what if. We're imagining. We're thinking about possibility and potential and kind of putting to one side for a moment the concerns around challenges and constraints. So the act of playing gets us into this mindset that is ripe for innovation. And beyond the kind of the innovative mindset, there's a lovely cognitive function that goes with play. I mean, play is often a kinesthetic activity, right? Your hands get in there, you start to play around with objects, take them apart, put them back together again, think about what you can do. And for some folks, that can be very supportive to the learning experience. Right? That kinesthetic activity can be soothing, it can be focusing, it can also be fun. It gets us to giggle and laugh and make eye contact and do something unusual and different. And all of these functions of play help to advance learning and thinking differently. So when we're thinking about then play as experience designers and bringing it back to that kind of principle for experience design, it's a lens that we can look at to really assess our content programming and how we're delivering things. If we can reimagine the traditional modes of content delivery and think about play as a way that helps people synthesize information, to make sense, to think differently, to retain information. It helps improve our content ROI, that happens as well. Play is a really powerful thing. And it gives us a kind of platform to reimagine and reinvestigate how we're running breakouts. We know that traditional methods really don't, one size doesn't fit all. So if we can look through the lens of play for experience design and think about how we can infuse that into the events that we create, there are going to be all of these knock-on benefits. So slime is one vehicle for play. It's one way, that a tool that we can bring to the table, and Glenn's a convert.
I am.
Yeah.
It's so funny because I take pictures of us. This is going to make the website of like my professional career, and I'm playing with slime on stage. So great.
So by creating playful events, are you helping create inclusion? And why is Marriott committed to belonging-centered design?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of inclusion and belonging, so designing belonging is one of our 6 truths as well, and inclusion is important for so many reasons. It enables people to come and be who they are and their authentic self and show up for and when you are your authentic self, you're just much more engaged as an attendee as well. So it's really all about including people for that and in terms of inclusion in general. But back to the point, it's so interesting, we talked about mental health and everything. We're really on another journey in really figuring out inclusion and broadening inclusion and belonging to also be inclusive of mental health. So we have, it's estimated in terms of there's about 20% of the global population has some form of neurodiversity, and that could be ADHD, it can be Tourette's, it could be even social and even social learning and that kind of thing, or social interactions, as well as being on the spectrum for autism. And it's a lot, as we all know, going into a meeting and event. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of interaction, as we just talked about before, going back into coming out of the pandemic and being around people again. Sometimes you just don't know how to react and everything. So it's really all about people, making our industry much more inclusive and how we can do so. So neuro-inclusivity, we've been working with Google and their Experience Institute. They've put out this amazing checklist and an amazing guide called the New Project. And what we've done is we've started really working with them more closely and making sure that our meetings and events have best practices through this neuro-inclusion resource. And so our meetings events have really taken on a different shape and like, okay, how can we go ahead and make our events more inclusive to people who learn differently? Because people just, on the spectrum and also have other cognitive disorders, they're just processing information a little differently. And I love the comment also about the translations and stuff like that. We're starting to do that as well. So we go ahead and we work with Google and do a lot of this best practices. And we also create quiet rooms so people can step out of the meeting and also decompress as well. So it's really exciting that we've done that at our large event that when we launched our trends in Phoenix earlier this year. You were there as well, Andrea. And I just got back from Madrid where we did that as well. And it's really all about, when I look at inclusion, there's this thing called the curb cut effect. And what that is back in the day, I think in the 60s or 70s, a lot of municipalities and governments started putting in ramps where they, at corners and everything, to make it more accessible for people in wheelchairs. But in reality, everyone benefited from that. The person with the walker, the mother with the stroller, as well as people, like us, business travelers with roller bags. It's like, can you go through an airport now and not go through the lowered ramp and everything? So when you design for inclusion and belonging, really everyone wins.
Right. Naomi, you have been helping activate the guiding principles this summer.
Yeah.
What have you learned and what tractions?
Beyond slime, I've learned that everybody loves slime. Yeah, so what we've done in terms of bringing the guiding principles to life is create a series of immersive labs. They are a little bit like play spaces where we talk about the principles and get people to really get hands-on with the idea and ideate how they might apply, for example, designing belonging into the experience journeys that they create. So, gosh, that's been from the start in Phoenix. We've been all over Latin America, Bogota and Sao Paulo and Panama at the moment today. Yeah, so all over, and we just recently came back from Madrid as well. We did SEMA also. So these labs have been a fantastic opportunity, not just for us to kind of get people on board with the content of the report, but also for us to start creating this shared resource. all of those amazing ideas that go onto sticky notes in the design sprints, where do they go, beyond the lab? Well, we've been capturing all of that. And as people reflect on what their journey to belonging is or what emotional data means to them, we've started to capture all of the input that we can then turn back to the industry as a benchmark, shared benchmarks of sorts. So that's still ongoing.
Okay.
But what we're doing as a part of those conversations is really asking for people to join in with this grand experiment, right? So we've talked about these truths for the future of experience design, but we all benefit from seeing real-world applications, right? So what we're asking people to do, if the future is now, essentially, is share with us how these themes and these truths are weaving through your experience design. What does belonging mean to you as you think about that journey? How are you architecting choice for your new audience, right? And we're wanting you to tell us about that. So we're kind of recruiting a little bit. If anybody is experimenting with and playing with some aspects of these truths, let us know. We've got the final version of the report that captures all of that collaborative work coming out in 2024, and we'd love to feature you. So get in touch.
Okay, great. Well, if you want to learn more about belonging and creating event strategies that work, check out the study, Guiding Principles in Experience Design by Marriott, PCMA, and SEMA.
Yeah.
And enjoy your slime.
Yes, we have many more
Take
actually
them
right
for
here. Yes,
kiddos.
exactly.
They love them. Yes.
Okay.
There you go.